Hello and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long while since my last video, been in a bit of a creative slump, but wanted to get back into videos, and I thought I'd do another digitizing tutorial where I'm going to go through my process for digitizing this little cute bee here, and I'll be making this into a wall art hanging, so stay tuned and I'll walk you through step by step on how to digitize this. Before we get started, I'll just go over a few settings here. I am using Hatch Embroidery software to digitize, and I currently use Hatch 2. I know currently Hatch 3 is the most recent version, so you can follow along if you're using Hatch or any other digitizing software should be able to have the same features that I'm showing you. I have my artwork pulled in here. And this artwork, by the way, is from designbundles.net. It was one of their free designs that they offer. I'll put a link in the description if you would like to download it, or you can take a screenshot and follow along. And I'm going to be dimming the artwork. So in Hatch on the left-hand side under artwork, I'm just selecting dim. So as I put my stitches down, it's easier to tell which are the stitches and what is the artwork. I have resized it, keeping in mind this is going to be wall art. The wall art is going to be about 8 by 8 inches. So I've made this just a little smaller than that. And then I'm going to right click and lock the image so it doesn't move around once we're digitizing. So in Hatch here, it has a feature called Auto Fabric, and it says here, change the properties of the design for stitching on a different fabric. This is enabled by default and it's automatically set to a cotton fabric, but you can go ahead and change it if you're embroidering on jersey or a chiffon. And when you change the setting here, it on the back end is auto setting the stitch density, the underlay, the stitch length, and things like that. But I like to turn it off because, as you'll see here, before I turn it off, if I go to Digitize a tatami fill, you'll notice down here, like the spacing and the stitch length, they are grayed out. I cannot edit those before I put down any objects. Same goes with the underlay. It's set to a default tatami. So if I want to make a fill, but I want to change the underlay or the stitch length, I have to first create the object, and then I'll be able to go in and I can change what the underlay is. Same goes for the spacing and the length. I just uncheck Apply Auto Fabric, I hit OK, and now when I go to Digitize, you'll see these fields are editable before I even place anything down. So always something I recommend if you know you're going to be adjusting the stitch length, stitch fills, and underlay. So let's get started. I'm going to zoom in to 300, and 300 is the most I'm going to zoom in. I don't want to do any more. That's usually my default. If it's a really small image, then I might do 600, but this is a rather big image we're digitizing, so 300 is just fine. Also to note, I'm only digitizing the bee. I'm not doing these flowers, and I'm not doing the bee kind. I'll probably do the stars here, so I'm going to have to digitize over these flowers, pretending they're not there. And before I actually get into that, just talk through how am I thinking through how to digitize. I think I want to do the wings first because the wings are pretty much identical. I think I will do one wing and then I will mirror it and have it paste to the other side so I don't have to digitize it twice. And then I'll go ahead and digitize the body of the bee and then the arms and the antenna. And as I do these wings, there's a couple ways I could do it. I could just digitize this entire wing as one shape here and have it filled in. But I want to give the wing some, kind of depth and show the different directions of how the light can hit it. I'm actually going to just digitize each individual little cell so it has a different stitch direction. I'm going to go to my Digitize Close Shape, have fill selected, and then for my tatami fill, I want to change the pattern. So in Hatch, there are different looks of the tatami you can have. Usually like the first 10 or so are very uniform, but at the bottom, I specifically like from 40 to 43. They kind of give some randomness. I will choose, maybe we'll go with 40, just so it's a little bit different than the standard fill. So I have that selected. I'm going to have the light blue selected. So the thread I'm actually using is like a multicolored rainbow thread. I'll show you here what it looks like. So it has like blues, golds, pinks, and it's all shiny metallic. If you don't have that color, it's kind of a rare color. Then even using just a silver metallic is fine. Or if you don't have metallic, a simple white or light gray thread would work as well. We are going to be doing this as a light fill. So I'm going to have my spacing set to 1.2. And then I can leave travel on edge on. And then under stitching, I want to turn off the underlay. And that's going to give you a really nice fill. Because this is a insect wing, we do kind of want to see the fabric underneath to show that it kind of is translucent and kind of see-through. We have all of our settings done. Now I'm just going to kind of go through and digitize every little individual shape here. So I'm going to start down here and I'm just going to go around each shape. And I'll be changing the stitch direction, but first I just want to place down all the shapes and I will just kind of go in order, touching them, whatever is next to it touching, so I don't have to travel and create a jump stitch. Okay, there we go. We have placed down all of our wing patterns. And before I copy this over to the other side, do you want to play with the stitch directions to give it some more interest? So I have everything selected and I'm going to choose under the effects tab the Florentine effect. And that gives everything a curve. And then I can edit each individual shape. And I'll kind of follow the lines around the cell outline. Let me just go through each one and give it a slight curve with whatever line is closest to it. Okay, so we have changed the stitch direction of all the wing cells, and I think that looks better than just having it one big tatami fill. So now I am going to group all of these together. So now they move as one whole object. I don't have the risk of separating them. I do want to copy this and just kind of mirror it over here, but I also want to try to minimize my jump threads. I don't want the machine to stop, cut, and then come over here, which it's not that big of a deal if it does happen. I'm only running this design once, but I just think it's good practice. So first I want to look, where does this end? And we can see, so this is the last piece that I did. And if I put a running stitch here, this is right now where the machine is stopping and cutting. But if I put a running stitch here, then it'll join down here. And then since this center area of the bee will be covered by black thread, I can just go straight across. And being mindful of where we started up here, I'll have this thread start there. Now, our next starting point will be right here, and I can mirror this wing over. So you could just copy paste it and then manually flip it. Hatch has this nice feature where you can automatically mirror it. On the left-hand side, I'm going to select Create Layouts, and then with my wing selected, I have several options to mirror it, and I want to do Mirror Copy Horizontal. And as I do that, I have an outline here of where the design will be, and I can place it over. So once I am happy with the placement to make sure it lines up, I can just click and it copies it automatically for me. So that looks good. I just want to fix my jump threads. So anytime you in Hatch, when you see a triangle, that means the machine is stopping and it's cutting the thread. So I want to see why it's doing that. Because when you do that mere horizontal pattern thing, it automatically adds the wing pattern right below it. So I need to raise this. So now you can see it stitches out this object, then it'll stitch the running stitch here, and then it goes into the next wing, and there is no trim or cut. So we've done the inside of the wing, and I'm looking at my bee in terms of order of digitizing operations. I think I want to do the yellow because I can see the black little fuzzies here go over the yellow. So that tells me I should put down the yellow thread first, and then the black thread will go over it. And for the yellow, I'm going to do 2 shades. I have my darker yellow I'm putting down first, and then after that, a lighter yellow to go on top. So I'm going to change my color to my darker yellow, and then digitize close shape. We have fill selected. Tatami, I still want it to have that ruggedness, so I'm going to switch to the 43 tatami pattern. You can see looks a little bumpy, and I want my spacing to be 0.5 because I am going to be putting the lighter yellow over it. We can do travel on edge. And then for underlay, we're just going to do a normal tatami underlay. I'll start from the top here since my wing ended up here and the machine doesn't have to travel that far. Let me zoom back into 300. Just starting from here, I will make kind of a rough shape matching the bee's body. So also with this, you can see the shape I made is very sharp edges. Because the bee's body is fuzzy, we are going to change a couple settings. I want to change my stitch angle to vertical. And then I'm going to turn on under effects. We have this feathered edge, and I want to select both sides. It adds this irregular line to the outline. And actually, I do want to turn off travel on edge because I feel like it gives it a hard line. And that, I think, looks much better. Now I will just keep those settings when I do the rest of the bee body. I can traveling stitch. I'm going to the running stitch, and we're just kind of loosely going to the next part of the bee body because this yellow line here will be covered up in black when we go over it later. And actually, I need to move this part out of the wing. So we're not going to see this yellow line in the finished result, but this is preventing the machine from stopping and cutting. And then down here, I will just do the same thing, make my same shape. And then here we have the flower. So I kind of have to make up where I think the bee's body is. I think there. We can always adjust that later. And then I'll just change the stitch angle and set the feathered edge to both sides. And actually, I will copy object properties. So the next time I put down that fill, I don't have to manually set the feathered edge. We'll turn off travel on edge and then select copy object properties. Again, we're going to do our traveling stitch. I'll do it on this side and then down to the last yellow part and make that shape for the bottom of the bee. So, okay, we have the yellow part finished. And I said I'm also going to do a light yellow highlight. I will select the lighter yellow, and then we're going to add some fuzziness to the bottom part of these 2 yellow sections. I'm going to make a similar shape, but not exactly the same. I'm going to come halfway down from kind of in the middle. So make the same half moon shape, but don't cover the entire area. And then, and I'll actually make this purple so you can see it better because it's kind of hard in the light yellow. So I'm going to move it down a little bit. And I want to lighten this up even more. So I'm going to do 1.2. And I want to have longer stitch length. So we're going to do 5 millimeter, turn off travel on edge. turn off tatami. We don't want an underlay. And actually, maybe I'll make that a 1. More dense. Okay, so I think that looks good. And if I make it the light yellow color, you'll see how it blends in to the end and it kind of creates that fuzziness. So using our traveling stitch, we're going to go back up. And then in this area, again, I'll make it purple and change it back later. We're going to do a light fill kind of inside the body, just in the middle section. And I will lighten that up to a 1. Turn off my travel on edge and turn off my underlay. And then if I make it a light yellow, you can see how it blends in. And I want this to be longer jagged edges. So under effects, I can increase the raggedness and how long the stitch is. So I'm going to change it to a 5 length so it's longer and then increase the raggedness. And you can play around to see how it looks. I think that looks better. So that's what we'll have for the middle to kind of show a highlight. And then I'll do, again, traveling stitch. We're going to travel up. You can just follow this same yellow we already used. Switch that back to the yellow. I think I will do the same thing I did down here, where I have the yellow, instead of the bottom, it'll be poking out on top. I will have it be just the top half shape. And there, you can see how nicely the light yellow, if we zoom out, how it blends into the whole thing. So we've done the yellow part of the body. Next, I'm going to do the wing outline first, do my traveling stitch, and then copy it over. And then we can come and do the body, the antenna, and come down from there. So since I'm going to be digitizing all of these black lines on the wings, I'm going to hide the wing color, the light blue, just so it gets out of my way and I can see things more clearly. So I will start here on the left wing, and I'm going to do the inside little lines first, and then we'll finish it with the outline all around the entire wing. And I'm going to be using the Digitize blocks feature. So you have 2 choices. We want this to be a satin fill. I think a satin fill will look nicer than a running stitch. I can do the satin like so and just make it smaller, maybe a 1. But I don't like with using just the standard satin stitch, how you can't control the width of the ends. You know, I don't like how it's like a hard cutoff. I like to taper them off. And we can see there are different widths here. I think the Digitize block feature is easier. Sometimes it's called the column stitch. So with the Digitize blocks option selected, I'm going to have satin stitch selected. And for underlay, I'm just going to do a center run because these are very thin. I don't need to have an edge run or tatami fill. I've turned off my feathered edge and we're doing standard spacing. I will start down here. And one thing I do notice is some of these lines are very thin. So these ones here are nice and thick. It's about, a little over 1 millimeter satin. But these ones down here, if I was to stay true to the artwork, that's like 0.4, maybe 0.3. It'll be very hard to digitize, and I don't like to go less than 0.5 millimeters for the satin. So I'm actually going to digitize them bigger than the art because we have to take into the account the limitations of doing a satin stitch. But I'm going to start down here, and I will just trace the cells of each wing. So like right here, you can see how thin it is. I will make it a little bigger so it's at least 0.5 millimeter. I don't want to go smaller than that. And from time to time, I will have to use a running stitch because I'm trying to do this in one go so the machine is not stopping and cutting. So right here, I want to get this little section digitized, but I will need to go backwards. So I'm going to take a running stitch and go down here. And then I can switch back to the satin so it doesn't have to stop and cut it. So now that I have done this entire wing section, I will group it just like we did before. Group, we ended here and started here. So I will just do a running stitch starting right there. And then same as last time, we'll select the object, create layouts, copy horizontal, and place it down. I will unhide everything and see if I need to make any adjustments to the wings lining up to the outline. I think I will just move this down a little bit. I think that looks better. Zoom out. And yeah, I think all of that lines up and looks nicely. So there are the wings finished. So now with the wings done, we can go ahead and do the black, the legs, head, antenna, eyes, and the fuzziness of the body. I think I'll start up here with the legs and go in a counterclockwise motion. And for these legs here, I will be doing the same group and then copy since they are mirror images. And we'll do a running stitch. And because we have some of the fuzzies here, I can use my traveling stitch, but also double as recreating some of these fuzzy lines. So instead of doing like a straight line like this, I will kind of follow these lines here. So it makes that fuzzy jagged edge. And then we can do this arm here. So for the arm, I'm looking at the shape. I will do a tatami fill for this first part. Then these thin ends of the arm, I will do in a satin, just like we did the wings. And then I'll do a running stitch around the edge to create those fuzzy things. Switch to my tatami fill and just want to change this back to 0.4. And I'll switch my underlay to tatami. Don't want any effects on it. All that is set. And now we'll just make this little oval shape. And I think I'll change the stitch direction. Actually, we'll do it going vertically. And I'm going to, I don't want to start digitizing this and then I'll get stuck up here and then the machine will have to cut and come down. So I'm going to do a running stitch to go through here so I can start up here and end down in this section. I'm going to go to Digitize Blocks, Fill, Satin. Again, we just want a center run for these tiny satins. And then I'll just make each of these shapes. So now I will go back to Digitize Open Shape. We have a running stitch selected. And I can just go over and make these little jagged edges to give it that fuzzy end feel. Then we'll come up here. And we're being very, not precise. You don't need to be neat. And there we have the arm. Okay, so now that is grouped. And then going to the head, again, I have some fuzziness here. So I will just do it like that. So coming in here, I'm going to do these antenna first. Going back to our fill, tatami fill. There's one. And then I'll just do travel stitch and do the same thing. I could copy it, but this is such an easy shape. It's just faster to recreate it than it is to copy and realign. Okay, there is our antenna. And then for this fuzzy part on the head, I think I will just manually do those as running stitches, kind of messy, back and forth like this. And then I'll do the eyes in a fill, Tommy fill. There's one travel stitch, and then we'll do 2. And then I can do the head. And the reason even though they're both black to Tommy fills, the head and the eyes, I want to give them different stitch directions, which is why I'm doing them as 2 separate pieces. So for the eyes, I'm going to select them, and under effects, we're going to go to Florentine. And then I want the stitch direction to follow the curve of the eye. Like that. You can tell it is a separate piece. And then for the head here, similar to how we did the body, I'll do a feathered effect on both sides. And then we make sure we want that to be to Tommy fill and make again these little running stitches to travel. And now we've ended here. So I can go back and copy this arm. And what I'm noticing is when I initially put this yellow down, I did the feathered edge on both sides. So we have the feathered edge on the bottom and the top, but the black I put over it is kind of covering it. So I'm going to only do the feather edge pointing down. So it's not adding stitches that aren't even going to be seen. Moving on, now we can do this main circle part of the bee, and I've ended. I want to finish making these running stitches and copying the fuzzy lines here, and then ending here in the middle where I can now go to a tatami fill. Okay, so I'm just going to make a big circle here. And next, we'll do each leg, copy them over to the right side, and then we can finish the body. So we can group this leg, and then we will come down and do the other leg in the same way. Group it, and then we'll copy both of these over. There is our third leg piece, and now we are ready to paste both of these legs over to the other side. First, we will do our traveling stitch, and I'll just run straight across. And then this leg will be pasted first, so we will estimate. It's going to start right there. Let me zoom out. I'm going to grab both of these, and I will mirror them horizontally, and we will line them up as best we can. Okay, so I think those line up pretty good. Everything looks nice and even on both sides, and we've saved time by not redigitizing those pieces since they are just a mere copy. We will do this chunk right here, and I'm going to copy the object properties of this piece because I want to recreate that so it has all of our settings pre-selected for us. And then we will digitize fill. And I do need to adjust this right side because I can't see. I want it to match a more straight line like we have on the right. So I know I'm going to be wanting to go around and do these little hairs. So I will start up here and do the hairs so I don't have to come back later and do it. I'm just going to be random, trying to fill the gaps here as best I can. Okay, so the body is all done, but I have all these gaps now that I need to fill. And that is where our running stitch will come in and fill in the extra pieces. So I will continue here. And then I'm going to come through the middle and do more jagged across the yellow and the black. that's all the fuzzy hairs we needed to do. I don't like the gaps I'm seeing here. I'm just going to raise this. Yeah, I'm going to remove the jagged edge from this part, so it's only at the top. And then we can close the gap a little here. So zooming out, I think that looks nice. There are some little gaps of white where the fabric will show through, but I'm not aiming for complete coverage, so I think that looks fine. Okay, so now for the eyes real quick. I just want to highlight the eyes so they stand out a little. I think I'm going to do a light gray over in a low density fill and then a little white for the shiny part. So I'm actually going to just copy the shape of the eye that's already there. And then once it's copied, change the color to a light gray, increase the density to 1.2, take out the underlay, take off the travel on edge, so it stands out a little more against the black head. And then we will switch to our white. And again, I'm using Digitize blocks. You could use the Digitize close shape with the satin fill, but I will just do the Digitize block so I can get a smaller edge and make a little circle. No feathered effect, and I don't want an underlay. And then I'll also lighten up the density because we already have a full fill on the bottom and then this lighter fill. So I'm going to move this to a 0.6. So there is our bee. Yeah, I think that does a good job of capturing the original fuzziness of the bee with all the jagged edges we put. I'm also going to do these little stars. I think they look cute. We can just digitize them real quick. So really we'll just digitize one and then we can copy them. Well, first I will do a running stitch on these little edge pieces. And then we can switch to Digitize block satin. So there are our little star shapes. We can group, make it a little bigger, and then we can copy and paste. Okay, so there is our bee fully digitized, and we could stop there, but I'm actually going to take it one step further because I want this to be a wall art. I don't like how there's all this empty space. So I think having like a cute hexagon beehive pattern in the background would add a lot more to this as a wall art piece. So I'm going to remove this artwork that I have, unlock it and delete it. And then I have this, I just typed beehive pattern online and found this hexagon repeating pattern. And I'm just going to increase it so it fills the page. And then I'm just going to do a single pass running stitch to cover the entire canvas area. Okay, so actually I think there's a way I can copy this without having to manually digitize every line. So I've done 2 rows of the hexagon and I've grouped all this together, but I'm just going to copy it and paste it. Now I have 2 layers on top of each other and I'm just going to lower this to about there. And that actually gets the job done. So I will paste again and drag down. And there we go. So there is our little beehive hexagon pattern. We're going to need a reorder. I want the hexagon to run first so it's behind the bee, and then everything else can run after. So I think that looks good. Now I will export this to my thumb drive, load it up to my machine, and let's go get it stitched out. And here we have the finished bee design. I've gone ahead and mounted it onto this canvas here so I can hang it on my wall. And I really like how the design came out overall. I especially love how the wings turned out with that metallic thread I used. I like the kind of rainbow translucent shimmery effect we have here. Looks very nice. And then overall, those extra running stitches we added along the edge to kind of simulate that fuzziness of the bee. If you're wondering how I mounted this onto a canvas, I do have another video that illustrates the process and supplies of how you can go ahead and make your own wall art from your embroidery. So go ahead and check that out. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.